You open your eyes to see a wolf in the middle of the ocean. You can't speak. You can only blink. The wolf tells you that you're dead. The only way you can communicate to him is by blinking. He says he chose you, but why? For what purpose? Ahead of you is a giant looming tower. He's taking you there to see the gatekeeper, who will judge your soul. He wants to tell your story to prove your life is special. But he warns you, every time you blink, time will move forward, and there is no going back. The first thing you remember is the ocean. Your mom beside you, your feet buried in the sand. The sun sets as your first memory fades. Then comes your first birthday. You play with toys, a small piano, a little boat. Your childhood memories rush in, reminding you how simple life once felt, when the world didn't need to make sense. Life happens all around you, but you don't really know what's going on. You don't really understand. You learn that your mom used to have a piano just like yours, and your grandpa taught her how to play. Now she wants you to learn piano too. One day, your dad gives you a box. Inside is a kitten. You manage to stumble yourself up to your mother's piano. You're nervous, but you still manage to play a few notes. Your mom is amazed, and she begins enrolling you in lessons. You notice that this memory is different from the others. Everything is dark, and you can't quite remember it. There's a phone call, and you try your best, but no matter how hard you try, you can't reach. You grow up, and so does your cat. One day, she gives birth to 5 kittens. You approach your kitchen door, and you can hear faint growling, and just like last time, as hard as you try to reach the door, you can't. Another memory you can't access yet. Your mom signs you up for a piano competition, putting immense pressure and expectations on you. You outgrow your toys. Your childhood slowly slipping away from you. You see that same boat again, the one that you used to love. While you're playing outside, you notice a new neighbor moving in. Her name is Chloe. You watch her play in her yard, and she calls you over and asks for a photo. Little do you know, she ends up sitting right next to you in a history class. Your classes start to feel a little easier as you both grow closer. You get your first video game, and Chloe comes over right away to play it with you. You start hanging out more, and you become friends with Chloe. Meanwhile, your mom talks to you about music school, her dreams now resting on your shoulders. You get 30 days to prepare for your audition. You spend those 30 days practicing, but also with Chloe. The night before your audition, you sneak out to meet her. Under the stars, she tells you how much you mean to her. She loves hanging out with you and thanks you for being her friend. You try so hard not to blink, wanting this moment to last forever. But time doesn't wait. You blink and you're at your audition. You fail, but worse, you feel like you failed your mother's expectations. She blames herself. Another memory you can't make out flashes by. Your parents whispering about you. You get a little sick and have to stay home from school. You begin drawing again, something you've loved since childhood. You fill notebooks with sketches, improving each day. You apply to art school, chasing your own dream for the first time. In art school, you rise to the top. Your teacher calls you a genius. You start to create beautiful art and become a painter. Your art touches people. You've made it. Your paintings hanging in galleries for the world to see. You live alone as you create beautiful works in your apartment. An art company offers you a job, but you refuse because your passion matters more than money. As you're painting one day, your mom calls you. She's sick, but she tells you to keep focusing on your career and continue painting. You think nothing of it and continue to paint as you have an art show coming up. You blink again. You're at a funeral. Your father is speaking, and the realization sinks in that it's your mom. You wish you had called her more. You're reminded of just how fragile life can be. You become depressed and stop focusing on your work. Eventually you go bankrupt. Since you're not publishing any more paintings, your teacher calls you, furious and disappointed. Your dad calls you too. He's selling the house. She's everywhere. Here, son, he says. You go back home to help him pack. While you're there, you begin to paint again. You paint the most beautiful thing you've ever created. A memorial of your mother. Everything that she represented. Your masterpiece. When your dad sees it, he says he can feel her presence. You publish your masterpiece, and it causes you to have even more success. As you stare at your exhibit, proud of what you've created, you notice Chloe next to you. Memories of your childhood flood back to you. Your friendship, your feelings toward her. She asks you on a date. Then it all fades to black as you're faced with the ferryman again. The ferryman is thrilled. He calls your story incredible and begins asking you questions. Were you a happy kid or a lonely one? You answer, happy. You had a loving family and an amazing best friend. Was your mom a composer or an accountant? You say, a composer, even though she really was an accountant. To you, her passion defined her more than her job did. Was she encouraging or demanding? You admit she was demanding. She wanted you to achieve the greatness that she never could. Was your neighbor your best friend or your first love? As you think deeper about your feelings toward her, you say, my first love. But as you near the tower, the ferryman begins to doubt you. The birds whispering that you're lying. He accuses you of making it all up, and you start to wonder if he's right. The ferryman asks you to start again. This time, no lies. You return to the beach with your mother. Then, the memory you couldn't reach before, the phone call. It was about your grandpa. He died. Your mom couldn't live up to his expectations, so she pushed them onto you. You see the door in the kitchen again, this time being able to approach it. Behind the door were coyotes. They killed all your kittens. You're back to being 12 and sick. Your sickness was worse than you had described. You're stuck at home, not being able to go to school. Your mom gives you a typewriter to write your story, your life, and your future. Chloe comes over to read it, and you admit to her that she's your first love. You start typing again. Benjamin Bryn was a loser, the worst Bryn to ever live. He didn't even fight the disease inside him. He just laid down and died. As you type, your sickness worsens, and you get consumed by it. You can't see or hear. You fall unconscious as it takes over. You're rushed to the hospital. They help you. You get a little better. You're given medication which helps it subside. Chloe calls, angry and heartbroken. Her mother had died too, and she can't handle losing someone else. She accuses you of lying about being sick. As sick as you are, you approach the piano again and play to cheer your mom up, even though you're struggling. But your illness continues to loom over you. It gets harder and harder to resist. It's difficult to take your medications or eat. Your cat comes back, and you're reminded that her children died. You look up and see two mothers going through the same struggle. Your parents call Chloe over. She feels bad for what she said to you. She gives you a note and runs away. Dear weird neighbor kid, you are my first love. Love, Chloe. It gets harder and harder for you to move and take your medications. The illness fully consumes you. Your parents come to your side as you flatline. You die at 12 years old. The ferryman brings you closer to the gate bringer. You start to realize that she is death herself. She has taken form of a cat, something familiar to you. She's not evil or cruel. She's kind and comforting. You tell her your story. She listens. Your life, your story, was incredible, no matter how short.
Gatekeeper, before you sits the soul of a child who died before he could grow old.
That means she's ready to hear your story.
You know, I never told you how much I loved your story. It's really so imaginative, and the person you wrote about is such an interesting and intense guy. My only issue was, well, I didn't like him very much. So, I wanted to read you something I wrote for you, which is about the Benny I've known for 11 years now. It's called The Great Life of Benjamin Bryn. Benjamin Bryn was born into an ordinary home, to an ordinary mother and father in a small town by the sea. His mother was a composer, or at least that's what she dreamed she'd be. So, when her own dreams didn't pan out, she began to dream for him. But then, when he was just 11 years old, he got sick and was forced to stay inside for an entire year. And in that year, he began to worry that he hadn't lived enough. So he made up a story of the great life he thought he wanted to live, which only made him forget the great life he already had, how he had filled a new home with light and joy and promise, how he met a girl, his neighbor, who felt all alone in the world and made her feel okay again, and how, even when he was sick, he still gave his parents hope, how he reminded them exactly who they were after they had almost forgotten. So when he knew he was going to go, he was okay, because he'd already lived a great life, a full life. And he was everything he needed to be, just as he was.
She accepts. Close your eyes now, and keep them closed.
Why is he smiling like that?
It must be somewhere that he likes.
This is the most beautiful game that I've ever played. A deep story about loss and death. Every time you blink, time passes. You cannot hold on to this moment no matter how hard you may try, and you could never come back. So you must appreciate each moment you're given. It reminds us to appreciate the moments we have, to truly live and experience everything happening before our eyes.